It's about to go because I think we're going live right this second.
Yay.
Yeah, we are live. We're on Facebook. And welcome to Arise and Shine. We are so excited about the show today. We are we're excited every time we come to share with you guys. But oh my goodness, I have this woman I respect and honor so much is sitting with us today. I'm blessed to have such an amazing sister circle, and she covers her spot in that circle so well. I can pick up the phone, and the difference in time zone doesn't matter. Ring her little messenger phone goes off, and she picks it right up. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Lady Gozen. Yes, as we say, round of applause. And let me tell you a little bit about her before we get going. Um, I am a big fan, and thanks to shout out to Cassandra Ferguson, because it's because of her that I became a fan of Cindy Trim. And I went and took my sister Placida, and we went to the End Your Year Strong event, which, by the way, is coming up December 11th, that weekend. And it's gone virtual, just like Then I Rise. So make sure that you get your ticket for Pivot. But I happened to get introduced to this woman. Cassandra and Placida met her and brought her right over. And it was just like little firecrackers went off because she was just such a sweet spirit. And we ended up sitting together throughout most of the rest of the event, right? Just a phenomenal lady with an amazing story. But Benicia, you know how you meet somebody and right away you're like, this is a forever friend?
Yes.
You know? And that's how I felt with her. And then, of course, you know, people love accents. So I just kept making her talk to me so I can hear her, so I can hear her accent, because I love to do them, right? So I'm like, oh, so you're from where? But a woman of God after his own heart, a sister's sister. She's just phenomenal. Lady Gozen, we love you, and we're so glad you said yes to come sit with us today.
Absolutely. Way from the UK, everyone. So how
What is say across the pond?
Yeah, I'm from across the pond.
We love it.
Thank you so much for having me. What a privilege to sit with such beautiful sisters. I know we're gonna have a great time. I'm excited.
Yes, absolutely. So before the podcast, and you guys know we always refer to the podcast before the podcast, but we still give you the tea. So don't be worried. You're not going to miss out on anything. But one thing that I love that we all have in common, and I'm sure many of you that are watching have in common, is we thank God that we don't look like what we've all been through. And so we had a really good laugh about that. But that's why today's story is going to be so amazing and so powerful, because we see Lady Gozen, who is so beautiful, and yet she's had a story with some ups and some downs, but God came in and swooped her and, changed her life as he's changed so many of our lives. And so we want to hear all those details today about your amazing journey. Tanya, do you want to start off?
I want her to start in the younger years. I want you, those, because, you know, your background plays a lot into how you handle things, you know, your tapestry. Talk to us about the beginnings, and if you could share that with us.
Yeah, there's so much to share. I'll try and be concise. So I was brought up I was born and raised in London, England, but my family are ethnically from a little island in the Mediterranean called Cyprus, which has a lot of history in itself. So I'm second, third generation, brought up culturally Muslim. And by culturally Muslim, I mean, like, there was alcohol in the house, there was pork sarnies and whatever else, bacon sarnies, we're eating them. So we weren't religious by no means. It was just celebrate the festivities. And my favorite festival was the whole Eid one where we got paper money for kissing our parents' hand. That was my favorite one. So yeah, and we'll play a role in the festivities, and we know them as the festivals in the Bible in the Old Testament. They're very much aligned. But yeah, so we're culturally Muslim, but we were also sent to Church of England Christian schools. Only reason, because they're the best schools in the area, and my parents knew a governor, because they didn't go to church to get attendance to get into the schools. We had favour right from the beginning. Let's just put it that way. And they're the best schools, so parents sent us there. They weren't fussed about any kind of religious stuff. But, yeah, I think God definitely had his hand then and there. And another thing, my parents say that I was the mistake child, middle child. But those who know about middle child syndromes and whatever else, they're true. So my sister was planned, my brother was planned, I was not planned. I was the mistake, but God don't make mistakes.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
And as I say to my daddy, the best mistake you ever had.
Tell him, yes.
That's a little kind of like synopsis of like my background. Turkish Cypriot, born and raised in London, hence the accent. Yeah, so I've got a lot of Middle Eastern as well as European influences.
Wow.
Awesome. They kind of shape who you are.
Yeah.
And how you look at life. It's funny that you say you guys had favor from early on. And then even in your bio, you talk about your kingdom citizenship. How did you get your kingdom citizenship? Tell us what that is.
All right. So when we give our life to Christ, and I was at a really low point in my life, I was diagnosed with a skin disease. Doctors were telling me I don't know what to do with you after being 5 years in their clinic. So we've tried every drug, we've had every operation, like, I mean, extensive drugs that would completely suppress your immune system. So after kind of having an encounter there, and just, I remember there was this very pompous British senior professor in dermatology, very specialized clinic, one of the best hospitals in London. And he turned around. I was 22 years old. I had had this skin disease for about 10 years, and it really just took over my life. It was really affecting every area of my life. Like, I couldn't tie my hair up because my body was just, I couldn't move in certain places. It just hurt too much. Wow. So I was sitting on one of those medical examination beds in a gown. After examination, he looked at me. He looked at my body where the disease was, and he said, "This is ghastly. I don't know what to do with you." And I was 22 years old, young lady.
You said that out loud, Gozen.
No,
he said, "This is ghastly. I don't know what to do with you."
And of course, you're like, you have respect for this man. He's the best of the best.
He's the head of the clinic, the best hospital in London. And I remember coming out of that room, no one else was with me because I had so many hospital appointments. I was like, I'll go, it's fine, like, I don't need anyone. I come out of that room, fell to my knees and cried, bawled my eyes out. There's a story of the woman with the alabaster flask. Like, that was the moment, with the alabaster flask, bawling my eyes out. Couldn't talk, couldn't construct a sentence. I remember phoning my mum and she's like, "Gozen, what's happened? What's happened?" And I don't know how I got home. The rest was a blur. I remember just getting home, getting to bed, full on depression, not wanting to do anything, until my mum walked in my room, and they were very early in their Christian walk. And they would always invite me to church, and I'd be like, "Nah, I don't need Jesus. You guys need Jesus. I'm positive. I'm fine. I'm positive." But they come to a stage where, yes, I was so positive. My friends called me the most positive person they'll ever meet. But there was a time, this time, my positivity couldn't get me out of this depression, this lack of hope, this nothingness.
That's good.
And my mum walked into my room. She's like, "Guys, do you believe God created your body?" I'm like, "Of course he did. Who else?" And she's like, "Come to church. Just see what God has for you." And I remember going, and before I knew it, I was giving my life to Christ. I was having, like, I answered the altar call. And since then, it wasn't a, I'm on fire for Jesus straight away. No, he pursued me. He continued to show me his love. And it was gentle little steps because I had questions. And slowly through time, 2 years after, I remember getting so excited that I was going to get baptized. I was so excited. And then since then, life changes, circumstances change, relationships stopped, other ones began. And now I need him. I need everyone to know about him, because if anyone's at that kind of stage in their life where they have no hope, they need to know Jesus is out there, because he gives hope to the hopeless.
That's so awesome. Like, two things that you said, and you just reminded me of when I met you and when we kind of just locked, because we both really, we knew him already when depression tried to take us away. Then we both met him there again, you know, so that's something that you remind me of. But you said something about new friends came and old ones went away. And I remember us talking about that, and how when you find him, you see a little clearer, and some friendships aren't truly the friendships you thought they were. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So when I came to know the Lord, I was already in a relationship. So I had a boyfriend back then. I thought boyfriends were the way to go. Newsflash, they're not. We can touch that after. Just kind of putting that little thing there in case you just catch this clip. So I was with someone, and they were a great guy. They still are a great guy. They just weren't a God guy, and they didn't know how to love me. And literally, I remember I didn't have the courage to end the relationship. I remember praying to God and just being like, God, you need to take control. You need to take control. You just need to tell me so clearly what I do in this relationship. And I remember being so convicted about certain things that we were doing in the relationship that didn't honor my body. And I remember just bringing that to God, and he told me to go on a break. So I did. But prematurely, that break ended because I missed him. I wanted to be with him. But God gave me a very clear word. He said, are they leading you to me, or are they keeping you back?
That's right.
And that, I think, is the message where we need to bring to every single relationship that we have. Are they encouraging my walk with the Lord? Are they helping my relationship with the Lord? Or are they pulling me back? Because instead of going Bible study on Fridays, I'd want to hang out with him. And he wouldn't go Bible study.
Right.
And it was like, why are you going to church for? Like, Sunday mornings were fine because it was morning. Afterwards, we would hang out. But Friday evenings, Friday night, we go out, no? Okay? So I knew that he wasn't helping my walk in the Lord. So I remember a few months after, he just come out with it. He's like, we can't continue this relationship because I don't know how to love you the way you deserve to be loved. And those words in and of themselves, I knew it was God removing him from my life. And I remember after that, we had dated for 4 years. And I remember after that, and we'd been through so much. We'd traveled the world together. We'd been through very kind of severe sicknesses together. And I remember after that, my cousins were like, you don't look like you just got out of a 4-year relationship. To which my response was, I've not. I've just started the best relationship of my life. That was when my love journey began with Jesus.
Yes.
I did look like what I went through, how we just began, right?
Exactly. That's so power packed. You know, you've said so many things that Tanya and I can resonate, and I definitely can resonate with the fact that you had a condition that looked hopeless. You know, my daughter was diagnosed with Lyme disease about 4 years ago. And I think we went to, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 doctors before they actually diagnosed her. So you're right, like in that moment when, and I think this is why a relationship with Christ is so essential, because there are going to be moments and things that happens in all of our lives that we have no control over. Even like you said, the most educated doctor, the most significant hospital, or whatever the circumstance may be, they're not going to have the answer. And now what? And so that was so powerful that you went from saying, no, I don't need God, I don't need church, I'm good, to a space where you're like, you know what, I want to give them a try. I mean, really, what do we have to lose? And you gained so much by doing so. The other thing that I love that you talk about, and we're going to talk about relationships because that's the area that you are an expert in, is that what you said was so powerful. And I remember my godfather telling me this, and I think that it crosses all relationships, not just a boyfriend and girlfriend, but even your natural friends. If my friends aren't helping me to grow in my relationship with Christ, then that's something that I may need to reevaluate. And I have, and I'm sure you have, and Tanya has had to reevaluate. And it's not from I feel very, very strong to say this. It's not that we're looking at someone saying, I'm better than you because I know Jesus. It's actually the total opposite. It's because I know that I need to get myself together, and my way of thinking was so wrong that I have to disconnect so I can really be reprogrammed, and my thinking can change, and my life begins to align with his purpose and his plans as opposed to mine. Do you agree with that all relationships should be evaluated that way?
100%, 100%. And I love the way you put that there, because what you're doing is you're guarding your own mind. You're guarding your own heart. Because friendships, especially the close friends, you're actually opening up your heart and entrusting them. And just like you can have a broken heart from a romantic relationship ending, you can have a broken heart from a female relationship, friendship ending, because that soul tie, we see it in the Bible with Jonathan and David. Their souls were tied. There was no sexual anything there. They were just friends, but their souls were tied. And when they parted, there was that separation, the soul ties that we speak of. So soul ties can be really healthy, but only when both parties are healthy. And I want to make it really clear, we're not saying just ditch those friends. We're saying be mindful of your time with them. Be mindful of the atmosphere, the room that you're in. Like certain friends, I will only go out to coffee with. Other friends I'll invite to my house to have coffee. And to know the difference. And I totally agree. It's to guard my heart. It's to guard my dreams. It's to guard what God is doing in my life. And that's very precious to me. And I need to protect that. Yeah.
So good.
That's so good. That is really good, because if you don't do that, who will? And nobody else is thinking that way. We were actually talking about that earlier this morning. And you grow, at least you should grow in that area. We were just talking about how we're seeing differences in how, I guess, strong we feel about that now, as opposed to say when I was 30, oh, well, yeah, I can hang with this one. But saying no and putting that fence up of protection, I don't know. I crossed over the 5-0 mark, and for me now, it's like, look, I don't really have time to waste, and I know Mr. Wright's walking around. My mother says he's under development. He should be pretty special by now, because he's been under development for quite some time. But I need to be my best self when I meet him, and you talk a lot about that too in your ministry. About getting ourselves together so that we're ready for him. Can you tell us a little bit about the Wife at the Waiting Academy that you developed?
Absolutely, absolutely. First of all, you're lying, right? You're not 5'0", whatever.
5'4".
Whatever. Lies, rebuke that. You don't look at one bit. God is so good. So for those that I'm actually 33. Many people think I'm older, but I'm not, or many people think I'm younger, and I receive that. Thank you, Lord.
Right.
But in terms of the wife in the waiting ministry, so that really began where so after the relationship ended, the one I just spoke of, and my love relationship with Jesus began, that was in 2014. And I remember just being like, I'm sold out for Jesus. I don't even want a relationship right now. Relationship is not on my mind. My focus is on healing, becoming everything that he created me to be. Just one moment. If you can hear fireworks, it's because it's around firework night here in England. So I want to apologize. There's no gunshots. There's fireworks. It's a ridiculous story in itself because they tried blowing up Parliament with fireworks.
Oh,
we now celebrate it.
They're celebrating the election over there. That's what it is.
Possibly. But we have firework night 5th of November, so that's the shootings. But Wife in the Waiting Academy. So Wife in the Waiting was something that God really birthed in me. So I had a desire to be a wife. I have a desire to be a wife. It's a strong desire, and I'm so open about it. You know, those that are like, no, I'm okay being single. You know what? I love being single, but I still desire to be a wife. Right?
That's
So many people don't even kind of like admit it to themselves. I'm all here. So the revelation came, I believe it was at the end of 2015. So like God's been working on me best part of 2 years. And I remember just being like, the scripture, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and receives favor from the Lord. Proverbs 18, I think it's 21. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and receives favor from the Lord. So when he finds me, he being husband finds me, he's finding me not as a woman, not as a girl, he's finding me as a wife.
Yes.
So to me, there's a difference between a wife and a woman. Like there's a difference between a wife and a girlfriend. There's a difference between a wife and just a woman, right? So I was like, God, show me, what is the difference? What do I need to be cultivating? Do I need to be in the kitchen and start baking cookies? Is that what it is? No, it's not what it is. So it's a complete different mindset. There's a different mindset in your singleness, and there's a different mindset as a wife. So in my singleness, I'm living for me. I'm living my best life. I'm traveling. I'm not thinking about family. I'm not thinking about the responsible things that come with marriage, that come with building families up. Whereas a wife mindset is she's being diligent about the future. She's watching her finances. She has savings. Yeah. She, is living a debt-free life or working towards a debt-free life. She is walking in her purpose as wife. And when you're married, your purpose as wife is, the word of God's very clear. It says, you're concerned about your husband and your family as well as the Lord. But in my singleness, it's just the Lord. So this is an amazing revelation. I was like, all right, God, well, I don't have a husband. Like, what is it? Isaiah 54 reads, Lord, your maker is your husband. And I'm like, all right. So, Lord, you're my spiritual husband. For now, you need to teach me how to be a wife to you first. You need to teach me how to submit to you first. I don't know about you all, but I was quite unruly in terms of very opinionated. It had to be my way or no way. Yes. And God just really had to put that on the check. He had to help me control this mouthpiece, which wasn't so eloquent back then, let's put it that way. I knew how to rebuke people with a lot of different kind of words. So, a wife knows how to carry herself. She knows how to speak words of kindness. She knows what battles to actually fight and what ones that are just not worth her time. She knows how to submit to the Lord, her maker first, and positions of authority, whereas a single doesn't think about that. They have no regard for that. A wife, I love Isaiah 54 because it talks about the barren woman. I desire to have children. I haven't got children yet, but it says, there's a scripture in there that says, you shall have more children than it's gone right now, but in your barrenness, you shall have more children. So right now, I know I'm doing so much that I wouldn't be doing if I was married to an actual husband. So Wife in the Waiting Academy just wouldn't have been established because I wouldn't have been in the season for so long to know so much about it, in all honesty. I wouldn't have been able to serve as many children as I get to serve. I'm a youth mentor that goes into 7 of the, let's say, the most challenged schools in my local borough to mentor youth, secondary school children, teenagers. I'm with the Sunday school children. I'm pouring into children. I tutor, again, pouring out into children. If I was a wife and had my own kids, I wouldn't have been able to serve all of these amazing children. So Wife in the Waiting Academy is all about living in your purpose now in pursuit of the desires of your heart, which God gives you. So yes, I desire to be a wife. Yes, I desire to be a mother, but I'm going to utilize this single season right now. I'm going to thrive in it. I'm going to walk in my purpose. I'm going to continually strive towards being everything God created me to be, knowing that my husband's going to be on that path somewhere down the line. I don't know where, so I'm just continuing, right? And as I continue, because I don't think you should marry for looks. I don't think you should marry for any other reason than purpose. And I don't mean you have to have the same purpose. You just have to be aligned. Like I was I'm in this stage right now of my life where I'm just wanting to get to know people. I was talking to a farmer in Ireland. I have no intention of moving to Ireland or being a farmer's wife. My dad's a farmer. I know what a farmer's wife goes through, but I just want to get to know people. So, that clearly establishes that I'm not your wife. Lovely talking to you. Bye-bye. Right? But that's because I know who I am. That's because I have the confidence to walk in who God created me to be. And that communication vertically with my daddy in heaven is continually kind of instilled in all of the choices I have. If someone's like, move with me to missions in China, I'd be like, it's not really aligned with what me and daddy have spoken about. I don't think you're my husband.
I love that. I love that.
And it's living an intentional life right now. So that's how Wife in the Waiting Academy was birthed. And we teach women. We've got a lovely growing community of women, just empowering them to find their purpose, not mine, theirs. They need to know theirs. They need to walk comfortably. They need to know their value and worth.
That's right.
So that they know what they're bringing to the table.
I'm so excited. Like I'm on my insides.
I can always tell because she starts moving.
There's going off like all over the place because as you and I talked and Tanya earlier, I come from a place of being married, being divorced, and being single again. And when I got married, I was really young. I was like 26, and I had grown up in the church all my life. But we know growing up in the church and having your own personal relationship with God, those are like two whole total different things.
Yeah.
And like after I got out of the marriage, now I had to become this whole new person. And so I'm like, okay, I want to do it right this time. I want to do it God's way this time. And in order to do that, there was a lot of things that you have to do different. To get a different result, you have to do something different. Yeah. And I just remember the Lord walking me through that process because at that time, that's almost like 13, 14 years ago, there wasn't a lot of material on how to be a wife, how to prepare yourself, things of that nature. So the Holy Spirit just really walked me through that. And he showed me the importance of, like he said, keeping your body. He showed me the importance of healing. I think in this day and time, so many people have to have someone that we have never taken the time, not only to heal from past relationship, but childhood trauma and wounds and thought processes that directly affect our choices. And so for me, I went to counseling. I joined a divorce grief program, just so many things because I wanted to really heal by any means necessary. And so like you, for a while, having a desire to be married, I didn't even have that because one, let me tell you what the Lord told me. He said, listen, I'm not sending you a son right now. You know why? Because you're a mess, you
You're a
know.
hot mess.
You'll mess him up.
Hello, just like I love you, I love him. So why would I do that? So go somewhere, have a seat. There's things that you and I need to work out. And I love the fact that you talked about identity, because so many of us didn't know who we are, who we were.
Yes.
Like, what are my desires? What are my, and not so much my desires or my dreams, but God, what did you create me for? Because everyone was created with a purpose. And I am a firm believer, until we're walking in that purpose, we're never going to be content. Even with a husband, you're
Right.
not going to be content. And a man or a relationship is not what makes us whole, because even in that relationship, and I love now, all things work together for the good, that I see both sides. I was married.
Yes.
And I understand that he couldn't meet every one of my needs. I disappointed him, he disappointed me. So what do we do with all that? That's why Christ has to be the center of the relationship, because what he can't fill me up with, God can. And so I absolutely love this academy. Tanya and I are in a program also that helps to prepare you for being a wife, because one thing I realized is I was a wife, but I still didn't know how to be. The title doesn't make you operate at that level. And so being open to really want to do it God's way. And the last thing that I want to say is, you're absolutely right. Who you are in your singleness is who you're going to bring to the marriage. So you're right. If I can't be obedient to God, if he tells me to go A, B, C, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that today.
Do C and then I'm gonna do D.
Right.
About A and B.
What makes me think that when my husband, which I have to submit, and that doesn't mean, you know, and that's why we have to know the correct meaning of words. That doesn't mean I'm a doormat and all of those things. However, I do have to respect him as the head of my household. And you know what it made me do? Understanding submission made me understand the choices and the decisions I have to make when I am dating and these individuals are in my life. Is this someone I feel like I could really submit to? And I didn't know to ask those questions before. So
33, I sure didn't know.
right, absolutely. And so I'm gonna let you respond, and Tanya, but one thing I do want to make sure we cover is, how do you keep yourself? You know, you're a beautiful woman. I'm sure, like you said, you're interacting with so many different people. And we like to keep it real on this show. We all have desires. Our bodies aren't dead. So I definitely want us to talk about
this definitely is a topic, that we discuss, because even Benicia and I have shared, some days are harder than others.
Honey.
Some days are like, okay, yeah, I need to turn that commercial bothered me a little more than it should have. Maybe I should turn the TV off right now. Just the real talk of, how do you keep yourself? How do you do that?
In all honesty, it's about learning to know yourself. Because most of the time we want to get to know other people, but how many of us really know ourselves? How many of us know how many of us are aware of what's going on internally, emotionally? Like physically, it's easy to see.
Right.
But oftentimes the enemy is very deceptive. He often comes in when we are weak in our emotions.
Yeah.
That's the only way he can try and get a foothold in.
That's right.
When we're strong in our emotions and we're spiritually filled up and full, he's getting in nowhere. But it's usually when we're emotionally weak. So it may be we're feeling lonely, as well as sexual desires, right? And it's just being really aware of you. So I talk about sexual desires often. It's probably one of my common questions over on Instagram. And it's about knowing you, knowing what your triggers are, knowing what time of day it is, knowing where in your cycle it is, like that you have these desires, knowing what you're watching.
Mm-hmm.
Just sitting there listening to mainstream music,
Mm-hmm.
it's very sexualized.
Yes, it is.
And then you're wondering why you have certain sexual desires.
Right.
Was it the common quote we hear? Watch your eye gates, watch your ear gates. What
Yeah.
are you watching? What are you hearing? What conversations are you entertaining? For
Mm-hmm.
guys, for example, are you in the locker room and these guys are talking about this girl, that girl? And then you're wondering why you've got all these sexual desires. Women, are we like, we do it too.
Yeah.
In terms of women sexualize men, they're like, oh, he's fine, or whatever else. I've been in the world,
Yeah.
you know.
You're not blind.
Right? So we need to be very diligent of what we're doing. We need to be very intentional with our time, and then put really healthy boundaries up. So it could often be, you know, why do you have these sexual desires? Is it boredom? Is it an addiction? Because addictive behavior kind of passes on into different areas.
Yeah.
So if it's addiction, you need to do with the addiction,
That's
because
right.
it's going to flow through, or at least kind of know that. Is it at night when you're just feeling lonely? Like, when is it? And then have things to do when you feel that way. So you're going into it with a plan.
Yes.
Put on praise and worship music when you're feeling that way.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
You
Practice.
can't feel that way to praise and worship music. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna shut
Right?
it down for real.
Have a boundary in place that you know you're gonna do. So you're not kind of like, oh, like, I don't know what to do, and then one thing leads to another, and you're like, oh, like, I'm at someone's house. Oh no, you're not. Right? Or you're satisfying your own needs.
That's right.
Find a way. Cold shower might work.
Yeah.
Worship music might work. Something that's quick and is going to take your attention.
Yeah.
Like, don't like sitting and reading. It really depends what you're reading, but it may not help as quickly. You kind of need a quick something. Maybe have a preacher that talks about, I don't know, something completely different, and have them their sermon that you go to on YouTube when you have those desires.
These are good strategies.
Yes.
Yeah. Know what works for you.
Right.
Because we are sexual beings. God created us this way.
Right.
And that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, we need to save ourselves from marriage and purity. If we're feeling bad for doing certain sexual acts, that's affecting our relationship with God.
Yeah.
And we choose it, and we allow it to affect our relationship with God through our choice in actions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So these are great questions, definitely in singleness. And it's all about self-control. It's one of the fruit of the spirit.
It is.
Right? Like, I'm not being funny, but even when you're married, the attractive people around you, the things on TV, don't stop.
That's right.
You're still gonna know. And then, like, what if your husband isn't available for you sexually? What are you gonna do?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Like, in all honesty, I don't want to be a master of my own body. I don't want to have to satisfy myself that way. That's my husband's job.
Right.
I'm not going to be taking that from him.
Mm-hmm.
So I just need to come up with a good plan to keep myself pure in mind, because it's always pure in mind first before anything else.
That's good.
As a man thinks, as a woman thinks in her heart, so is she.
So is she.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, that is powerful.
And you know what I love about your story as well is that people don't know just the course of action your life has took, because you were a lawyer. Are you still a lawyer, or you were licensed as a lawyer? Is that correct?
Yeah, I was practicing in mental health law, but I'm not anymore. The Lord has completely shifted that from me.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about mental health for a little while, because in this season of being in a pandemic, you know, the election that just took place, just so many different things. Can you talk about the importance of our mental capacity, and maybe some of the common things that you've seen, and possibly provide some solutions to just help individuals mentally navigate this trying time?
Yeah. So I qualified to the bar in England. I was a, as a barrister, but I practiced in mental health law for 10 years. So my cases were a bit more specialist. So I would go to psychiatric wards. I'm aware you don't have this facility because it's government funded. You don't have this in America, or when I've inquired, you haven't had it. So I went into psychiatric wards where people's liberty was taken from them. They were sent there because they were found to be of severe mental illness where they couldn't be home to be medicated. Wow. So it was very extreme mental illnesses, such as, you know, there'd be a threat to life, bipolar, schizophrenia, personality disorders. So they would be sent there to either be assessed or treated. And there's different sections for each, and there's different laws and stuff. But oftentimes when someone's liberty's been taken away and they do have these mental diseases of mind, they're not aware of their legal rights. So I just knew that that was where God had me for that season. No one studies law to be a mental health lawyer. I'm just going to be really real.
When I read it, I was like, wait, I didn't even know that existed. Let me make
I don't know if it does exist in America, in all honesty. I'm sure there's a very specialized unit, like it's a very niche specialism. But I know God had me there. Why? Because I was a tribunal clerk for 2 years. I would literally collect all of the solicitor's cards. And then once I qualified at the bar, I messaged every single one of them. One of them, I literally, like, although they're mainly like, check out our website or this and that. So I got so many rejections. But one person called me back and said, oh, send me a CV. Sent it in straight away. So I don't have a paralegal job, like no office jobs, because that's what I was asking for. So how about I train you to be an actual advocate, to speak for these people? And I'm like, and I remember that was very close to getting saved. And I'm like, God, thank you so much. Because I just knew it was him.
Right.
The thing is about psychiatric wards, they're very protected. They're very secure units. So like you have the airtight doors. You can't open one door without shutting another. You have to, you know, they have to get your ID passes and everything just to even go in. God needed the church in these psychiatric wards.
That's right. That's right.
There's a whole load of spiritual battles going on there. And I saw that as God positioning me in a place where the church can't get to. And he needed the church in there. And I remember praying for my clients, and, you know, just my prayer was, Lord, help me bring your presence. Help me bring peace to them, your peace. Whether I mention most of the time, legal capacity, I can't mention people's names. So I was, you know, doing what I could. Any little foothold I can get that they were Christian, I'll be like, can I pray with you? A few people gave their life to Christ. So to me, that was a mission field. And I talk about in Wife in the Waiting a lot, is find your field, plow, you know, stay in your field.
You say stay in your lane here, stay in your lane. Find your lane and stay in it.
And stay in your lane. And, you know, keep there, like Ruth. She found the field she was meant to be, and that's where her bee was. So I'm just saying, find your field, ladies. Find your field. Know the field that you've got favor in. Stay right there. God's got you.
Yeah, that's good.
That right there. But then more recently, my prayer has been, Lord, help me have that impact in my community. I have a ministry online. I have impact online. The people in Wife in the Waiting Academy, there's Australia, there's America, there's the Cayman Islands, there's Czech Republic, there's throughout Europe, Africa, America. Like, to me, that's amazing. But my prayer is, Lord, what impact am I making in my local community, like right here, my local borough? And I took that to him, and he revealed to me how we have quite high crime rates for youth out of the whole of the out of the whole of London boroughs. And that shocked me, because I don't live in a bad area. I would have thought certain other areas would have been worse. And that really shocked me. So I'm like, God, what do I do? And he literally positioned me in a youth center to volunteer as a mentor. 2 months in doing that, they come to me and said, how about we pay you for doing exactly what you're doing?
Come on. Oh, God.
And I didn't even fill out an application form. So I have now transitioned from law to my professional job is as a youth mentor, as
Mm.
well as a mentor to women around the world, as well as to encourage people, as well as to help people find purpose. So I've shifted. But in terms of mental health, we really just need to give ourselves time and space to really absorb what's going on. The whole isolation, there's a lot of loneliness right now. To deal with that, to find different ways to connect with people. I am all for getting therapy sessions. I'm all for having those one-on-one sessions with a coach, with a mentor. I do coaching too, so I've seen and helped many people with this challenge too. But having someone that doesn't know you, express those emotions to, because oftentimes we don't want to burden our families with it because they've got their own troubles that they're going through.
Yeah.
So to have a counselor, to have a therapist, to have a coach, to have a mentor, to have someone come alongside you to help you shift your perspective. And I just want to be really honest and open right now. I have people that I go to, that I pay to go to actually help process all of the emotions, so that I know when I serve from the best possible place that I can.
So good.
Because you don't want to be bleeding and serving. Like that's
Yeah.
disaster.
Yeah.
And we hear it so many times where, pastors are weak and the enemy comes in.
Yes.
So we need to stay strong, and we need to do whatever we can to get to a place where we're in a position of service. And I believe each and every one of us, like every person listening today, has a position of service.
Yeah.
Whether it's in your community, whether it's in your family, whether it's in your field, your industry. We're all here on this earth to serve another person. And when you find what your area of service is, what we're saying earlier, you shine, you're fulfilled.
Yes.
And it gets to a place where you're like, God, like, wow, like I'm thriving. And then the great thing is, when you're really good at something, the money comes too. It chases me.
Yes.
Like I was volunteering and then they just wanted to pay me. Okay, I'll do this for free. Fine.
You're
No
doing
problem.
what God said to do, right? You're just doing what God said do, and here it comes.
Yeah.
And all the greats, say that when you help others in their purpose, it just naturally is a side effect. You naturally will be taken care of. Your purpose will be fulfilled when you lift someone else. That's why I always say we rise together, because it's in my effort of helping you rise that, oh my goodness, well, oh, my bills are paid. How did that happen? Oh, okay. I'm good with that. But it's not what I look at first.
Right.
And the power of what you said about, and I think you and I have had conversations about this, because it's just so important. Bleeding and serving. It's so prevalent. And I think this year set a record too for pastors and suicide.
Yeah.
And you look at that and you go, well, wow, if they're the leaders, the shepherds, and they're bleeding over the sheep, and a lot of times it's in silence. So you have to, your relationship with him will dictate how deep in the pit you get, and it will give you the strength to crawl out. But if you turn your back on him when you're in the pit, then everybody else is going to have to pray for you, because you kind of lose your power to pray. Staying in touch with him is so critical, because when you're weak, I remember in my weakest moments, all I could do was just say his name.
That was enough.
Yes.
And he was like, okay. It's like, I even heard, I got you, babe. It's good. I got you. It's like, I'm so tired, Father God. I'm so weak. And I wasn't prepared for this. I don't know how to deal with this. How do I cope with this? Jesus. And instantly I would feel him around me. I got you. I got you.
Sufficient.
Yeah, if you don't have that relationship, as weak as it is to just call out,
Right.
you know. So that's the reality a lot of people are going through now. They're so lonely, they're isolated. And for me, I say to you, everybody watching, just call him. He wants to walk with you.
Mm,
He wants to be included.
That's right.
So if you're at your lowest low,
mm,
22, with another earthly person telling you you're ghastly,
Yeah.
or you're rejected by somebody who you thought loved you more than anything, or you're out of work and you can't even look your wife in her face because you feel like you're supposed to be taking care of your family and you can't. You have to turn to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's there. He's gonna help, but he wants us to reach,
mm.
Yes. Yes.
you know?
So good. So
That's
good.
amazing.
I would ask if everyone who is watching, if you could just hit that share like button, because there's someone that may need to hear this conversation today, that their spirits can be encouraged, that hope can be restored. We've all been in situations where we weren't quite sure what to do and where to go. And Jesus, who we're talking about today, having a relationship, not being religious, that's totally different than having a personal relationship with him. And so please share this because it truly has been a blessing to us today. I know it will continue to be a blessing to someone else. I loved what you both were talking about, and just being able to call for help when we find ourselves in those spaces. And to you and your beautiful story about being a lawyer, you went to school, you had to study, you had to do all of these things, but you also had to trust God enough to be able to release and let go of what you thought the purpose and the plan was. And it goes back to that relationship and learning to, trust that his will, his way, his plans are better than ours. I always tell Tanya, you know what? God is so much smarter than me. If I would just keep that in the forefront, my life would be so much better if I just
Yeah.
realize he knows the end, the beginning, all the in between. We
Mhm.
make
Yes,
decisions sometimes
yes,
based on what I see today. And he's like, you're thinking about today, and I know what the next 20 years are going to be. And so, what you said was so powerful, is that as you pursued
mm,
purpose, as you pursued God, opportunities came to you. You didn't have to run and
Yes.
and sometimes we get that twisted, right? Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to have money. But what is our motive at the
Yeah.
end of the day? I know millionaires that are miserable. We know millionaires that have committed suicide. So if money and things are, what is going to keep us happy, then what happened?
right,
We know that
right.
that is not true contentment. We know that, at the end of the day, we want to be able to hear well done because we've walked out the purpose and plans, of God. And so, one thing that I want to ask you is, the person that is listening today,
Mhm.
they may not have a relationship with God. They may be in relationship, but they're still working it out, because we do grow and mature. I don't care how long you've been in this, we're
Right.
continuing to grow and mature. What would you say to that person? Because you went from, once again, I really don't need this Jesus thing. It's not really for me. Go, you can go over there and have your way.
Oh man, I'm dead.
Right, falling in love with him, having a relationship, your whole life changing. And I guess what we want the audience to know is he has no respect of person. So if he did it for you, he's willing to do it for everyone else who's listening. What would you encourage them? What are those steps? What did that look like to become who you are today?
Wow. Ladies just giving so much fire right now. Something Tanya said earlier about being so weak and calling out to the Lord.
Mm,
That was where I was.
mm,
And I've since learned this, and I do it so much quicker now
mm,
because I don't want to be strong. I don't want to always have to wear my cape.
Ooh, that's
I don't want to always have to be superwoman. I don't always have, like, we don't. It's exhausting.
it's
Yes.
exhausting.
Right? We can feel it. It's
Yes.
exhausting because we've all been there.
You're speaking
Yeah.
my language. Yes, ma'am.
So the scripture says, in my weakness, he will be my strength.
Yes.
His
Yes.
grace is sufficient. I think it's 2 Corinthians
Yes.
2:19.
Mm-hmm.
Read it in the Message translation.
Mm.
The Message translation. And it's literally that. When I fall, he
Yes.
will pick me up.
Mm.
Yes.
And he will strengthen me and lift me up.
Mm.
And it's knowing that I can get myself out of this. I might be in a mess. I might be in a pickle. I can get myself out of this. But I'm going to exhaust my way in doing so.
Yeah.
The
So,
moment I surrender,
Mm.
the moment I say, God, I can come up with some solutions, but your ways are higher. Your ways are better. I just want what you have.
Yes.
Look, Lord, I'm not afraid of hard work. I'm not afraid of digging whatever I need to dig, sowing whatever I need to sow.
Mm.
But I just need to know it's you.
yeah.
Because I'm done with self-effort. I'm done with grinding.
Mm.
I'm
Toil.
done with toiling. I'm done with
Striving.
trying to make myself something.
Mm.
Lord, if it's not of you, I don't want it.
Yeah.
If this relationship isn't of you, I don't want it. If this job isn't of you, I don't want it. If this won't glorify you, I don't want it.
Yeah.
So many of my family are like, you were a lawyer and now you're a youth mentor? Like, that glorified God for that season.
Yeah.
I'm shifting with his season.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Right? We need to shift when God shifts. I need to move when God says move.
Come
So
on.
trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding.
Yes.
Our understanding is of this world.
Mm.
It's what people are saying to us. It's what we've been told since we were born.
Yes.
That you're always going to be this way. Says who?
Yeah.
I'm getting rid of every limiting mindset,
Come on.
every single thought, light from the pit of hell that gets me to question what God really said, because that was really the battle with Eve, right? Did God really say? Hold up, who are you to question my God? He said it, it's done, there we go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's our interpretation that got us in trouble from the very beginning, right?
No, stop reading into things, stop interpreting things, stop allowing the Lord to. And then look, the thing is, right, these deceptive thoughts soon sound like our own thoughts.
They do. Yeah.
Mm.
And we need to catch them. That's why we need good, godly friends around us. That's why we need sisters and brothers around us to catch us and be like, hold up, sister. Since when is this mindset going on? Since when is, this is my life, I'm just going to have to deal with what's going on? Says who?
That's right.
Is that what you're choosing?
That's right.
Or is that what God said for you?
Mm. That's good.
We need that. I love how in Ecclesiastes, it says how when two walk together, if one falls, the other will pick another up.
Yeah.
And many a times we say, we're like, oh, my husband's gonna do that. How about right now? How about having some good friends around you right now?
That's right.
That you can message and say, I need prayer. Please pray for me.
Yes.
How about having friends around you right now that you can just speak with, that can check you? Like, have you given your friends permission to just check you? I'm like, look, if you see me step out of line, you just tell me straight away.
That's it. That's it.
And you need people around you. So, and I remember going for a season where I didn't have friends because I was not Christian, and then I become Christian. I became the weird person that now believes in Jesus, where we've always been scared of Jesus our whole lives because I was Muslim before. Like, you can say, God, mention Jesus. No, you're not allowed to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was a fear of Jesus, the name.
Wow.
And it's the unknowing of it. So going from that to that, all my friends just disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
But what God really needed to do was have me to himself.
Yes.
So have God to yourself, and then let him bring those friendship groups around you. Let him bring the husband for you. Let him bring the relationship, the colleagues around you. Wherever you are, God can use you.
Yes.
Whatever you're doing, God can be glorified in it. Just surrender it to him.
That's right.
You know,
That's
as I go out in my car every day, Lord, this is your car. If there's anyone you need me to pick up, drop off, it's your car. Obviously, the whole COVID thing right now, maybe not, but before it was always that way.
Yeah.
Or it'd be like, Lord, like, I'll wake up in the morning and be like, Lord, who can I bless today?
Mm-hmm.
And that could be a random person just to phone and just be like, can I pray with you?
Yeah.
Or just send an encouraging text. Like, or it can just be someone, you know, God put someone in my heart. I want to bless you with this gift today.
Mm-hmm.
But be a blessing. One thing my pastor says that I absolutely love is when you become a funnel, right? Funnel, water pours in and flows through you.
Yeah.
When you become a funnel of the Lord, the blessings of the Lord pour into you, but flow through you, but you still get wet.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
You still get soaked with his blessings, with his love, and with his
so
glory.
good. I love that.
Right? So decide to, wherever you are right now, however low you might think you are, the moment you decide to say, God, I know you've got me. And because I know you've got me, I'm going to do your work. Jesus says, I'm about my Father's business. How could he say that? Because he knew God was about his business.
Mm-hmm.
When you fully say, Lord, I'm about your business, you have no concern of how that bill's going to get paid.
That's so
You
good.
listen out to God to see what you need to do in this.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And just trust that as you're being faithful to what God's telling you,
Yes.
that he's not a man that he shall lie.
That's right.
He is faithful
Yes, he is.
to perform every single promise that he's given you. He is
Girl,
with you.
you are such a
Lead you,
blessing.
Thank you. He is so powerful. I just love it. I feel like I've got the cure to everything in the world. And like it comes in this pill called Jesus. And an overdose is like recommended. Overdose yourself on Jesus. That will get you out of anything.
I love that. The only overdose that we
Only
We
one.
ordain, right, is the overdose of Jesus.
consider.
That's good. I love that.
Take it like medication. Get your scriptures. You know what? If you message us, we will help you find scripture.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we'll be like, all right, you feel depressed. Read this scripture. Read this scripture 4 times a day. Overdose that if you can, but minimum 4 times a day. That's your medicine.
That's right.
Because it is medicine to our bones. It helped me. The disease that the doctors didn't know what to do, they still don't know what to do. But every time I go back to the clinic, they're like, what are you doing? You look so good. Your skin looks so good. Like, what are you doing? And they know I've not been on any drugs of any kind for years. I'll sit there on this like hospital bed. I'm like, Jesus. And then she turns around and she's like, you're joking, but there's something in this. I was like, you might think I'm joking. I'm not.
Right. No, he changes x-rays. He changes blood tests. He changes.
Come on.
Yes. I used to have low blood pressure. Not anymore. The skin disease that once held me bound. Not anymore. And the amazing thing is my consultant wasn't a born again believer. I pray that she is. I haven't seen her for a while. But she actually started ministering to a consultant that come from America, saying that by my faith, I was improved.
Wow. Ooh, I like that. I was in. That's powerful. That's powerful. And so even in that, it's so amazing because God allows, you know, when the enemy sends something for our bad, God does turn it around for the good. So God didn't stricken you with the skin disease, but he still used it even in the midst of medicine to show I'm the answer. I'm the cure. Same thing happening with my daughter. We went to the doctor last week and her labs was better than ever. And praise God, we do have a born again doctor, but even in that, it's so encouraging our faith. You know, it's encouraging her faith. It's been a process, right? But no matter the process, we have to keep the faith. You know, because we don't know the day nor the hour that the manifestation is going to come. And so that's what I love about what you were speaking to in regards to friends. I tell people all the time, it's good to have good friends, but it's so much better to have God friends.
Amen.
Good friends can pat you on the back, They can give you a little something, honey. But when you have good friends, those friends that'll get in the trenches for you, that will stand in the gap for you, that when you can't pray, they can pray and lift your arms up. My God, where would Benicia be if I did not have that type of support system? My God, friends that pick you up in the spirit. So I haven't even told you what was going on, and you can pick up the phone and say, hey, you was on my heart today. This is what I believe that God is saying. My goodness, I have been picked up out of the pit so many times.
So many times.
The people that God has placed in our lives. And then when we have a relationship with him, he says, listen, don't get stuck on the people being that for you. Now, are you being that for the people?
Right.
So that's why.
Are you representing me?
Are you representing me?
Do they see me when they look at you?
Come on. Do you have an ear to be able to hear what I want you to do for that person? And so what I love about your ministry, what I love about your life is that although you have this desire to be a wife, you're not allowing that thing to minimize this season in your life. And, so I talk to so many, single women, and we have ministries that pour out to single women. And that's the thing. We have to live, being married is going to be amazing. I'm excited. I can't wait, but I'm not going to live a downtrodden life until it comes. So you're right. We need to get out here. We've traveled. We've seen the world. We volunteered. It became a point, and I can honestly say, like recently, I even had the thought, like, Lord, I really do want it, but I'm so good. Like, I'm like, wait.
I'm good right now. I'm good.
But I do want it, so don't.
Yes.
Don't say no to my blessing. Just saying.
Yes. Just say. Just say.
Will get to a point where you recognize this is no longer an idol for me. I don't wake up in the morning like, oh my God,
where's my husband?
Right. And not that you don't have your days. Some days I come in, I've had a hard day. I'm like, it would be nice if I could share this with someone or whatever the case may be. So you have your moments. But like you said, because your life is so filled with purpose, that it's not driving you every day. You're not desperate, because when you're desperate, you make wrong decisions.
Yes.
Because we have relationships with Christ. I love how you talk about knowing who you are and your identity. And Tanya, if you don't mind, before we wrap up, I definitely want you to talk about coming into the knowledge of knowing what your name meant. Like just solidified who you are. And then I just want to say 3 things that you definitely teach and preach in the academy. And it's, you are a wife already. So listen, we're supposed to be carrying ourselves as such. Number 2, there is no waiting to be a wife. Like we're not waiting. We're not waiting. We're operating as such right now. And 3rd, your life is not to be put on hold. It's not. Live life. God said that he came to give us life and life more
abundantly.
Yes.
Right. So you should be walking in your purpose.
Walking your purpose is nothing like it. It's so fulfilling. And we're just excited. We're excited because we know God has no respect of purpose. We're walking in purpose, and there's more to come. It continues to change and shift. And we just want to change and shift, with it. And so talk about your name and how you came to know what it meant.
And Lady Gozen, if you can attach to that, what you want everyone listening to walk away with today, I think that would be so phenomenal. Please.
So much. So my name, I remember we were praying, I think it was a prayer and fasting season, and the scripture in Isaiah 62, I think it's 2 or 3, and it says, the Lord shall call you by a new name. So you're going to be called a new name, and the Lord shall give you that new name. And from a young age, like Gozen is a very unique Turkish name. I don't know another Gozen other than me and my auntie and whom I was named after. I don't know another one. I'm sure it exists, but I don't know anyone.
Yeah.
So I was like, Dad, what does my name mean? And he's like, so Guz means I, and N in English is like the end. So it's the corner of your eye. I'm like, whatever. And then I'm like, whatever, you're making that up.
Thanks, Dad.
And then
Yeah,
he'd
that's
be
not what
like,
I was thinking.
oh, it's the name of a precious deer. I'm like, Dad, how big is Cyprus? From one end to another, it's 3 hours. How many precious deers do you think we have in Cyprus? Like, yeah, me. So I'm like, God, what's my name mean? What does my name mean? And we know, like, with J Bears, and we know with other people, like in Hebrew, you call a thing as it is. So I'm like, God, what does Gozen mean? And then randomly, my sister messages me of a restaurant in California called Gozen. And I'm like, what? I've got a restaurant named after me in California. I think I need to be in California right now.
Right.
But then afterwards, I just Googled it and I'm literally like, Gozen, meaning. And then it come up with the Japanese meaning as samurai, lady samurai warrior of royal standing. And I'm like, all of that. That sounds kingdom to me. What does a samurai do? And it's a title given. So it's like a missus, a miss, a lady. So it's a title given to samurais. So there's all different names. And a samurai fights for the people. She is a warrior. There's literally pictures on horseback with sword in hand, ready to battle for the people, for the good of the people. And I'm like, that just has God all over it. That is kingdom all over it. So lady being the title, hence Lady Gozen. It's no cute title. I don't think like I'm all something and a piece of that. It's just God. It's just God. I'm just walking in. I'm owning it. And some people, made snidey comments at the beginning. I'm like, that's fine. I just know who I am and I know who God's called me to be. And the moment I stepped into it, the warrior came out. The fervency for prayer came out. The fervency to want to help and do good in my local community came out. So I know God is bringing that to pass. I don't know what it looks like, but I know he's continuing to bring it to pass. And I want to leave you with that today. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know the struggles you're facing. I don't know whether it's an identity issue or a challenge that you're having right now in terms of a relationship, but God does. He knows exactly what you're going through. In fact, he knows what he's prepared for you. The table is ready for you to feast on. The table that God set for you. But you need to decide to actually come and sit in that chair and sit on that table and feast of the food that he's given you. The food that he's given you, like, is of joy, of abundance, of fruitfulness, of you being a blessing, you serving, you being who you know you were created to be. Or just excuse me, being a person that knows who they are. That confident you is on the inside. You might see me as a really confident woman. I haven't always been this way. God has literally shown me who I am. He's given me the revelations that I've needed to get to where I am. And he can do that for you too. And right now you might be feasting on something, but you know it's not edifying you. You know it's not serving you. You know it's not giving you nutritional value. God's saying, come sit at my table. And, do this. Actually sit at the table and imagine the feast that God has for you. And then laugh because God's is better. What God has for you is so much better than you can either think, hope, or imagine. I never thought I would still be single at 33, but I'm glad that I am, because I can praise, I can sit and help people through the season that they're in. I love the privilege that I get to speak to other people. But that's taken God to get me here. And I know he will meet the desires of your heart, just like I know he's already met mine. Whatever they look like. It's having the confidence in him, not of myself. And I know he's there for you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Like, he wants to be involved, but God is like the greatest gentleman.
Yes, he
He
is.
will not step in unless he's invited. And
Jesus.
women, we know that we're the ones that give men permission.
That's right.
We're the ones that say how far to go. We're the ones that set the boundaries. And oftentimes we've got walls in places that we need to just have doors to invite the right people.
That's so
Let
good.
God in. Just tonight, just call out, Jesus, I need you. That's it.
That's it.
I believe that you have something for me, Lord. And as we mentioned earlier, definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Try.
Jesus.
Try. Reach out for Jesus. Like he did, he picked me up. And the desire didn't come straight away. It just comes through me consistently going to him.
Yes.
And the word says, draw closer to him and he'll draw closer to you. And the truth is, it's not that he's drawing closer to you. You'll just see how close he really always was.
Ooh, that's good.
Always been there. That's so good. That's so good. Lady Gozen, please tell everybody where they can find you.
Yes.
I am on Facebook, Instagram, Lady Gozen, YouTube, Lady Gozen, and then my website, ladygozen.com, where you will find lots more information about the Academy. And reach out. Let me know that you watch this. Give us a little kind of screenshot and stick it on your stories. Tag us all there, just so we can kind of like send you a personal message to say thank you. Thank you for being a part of this. Share this.
Yes.
Share this. I believe it's for someone. If this has blessed you, I believe it's going to bless someone else. So yeah, engage. Let me know you're watching and come and say hi.
Well, I thank God so very much for putting you in my path.
Yes.
What a gift. What a gift.
As are you, my sisters. I honestly just so honored to have been asked to come and speak on this show. But even just when we met, just how you just welcomed me.
Yes.
Like, how could you not?
I just felt so welcomed. And I think we're on the last day of the conference as well. And I'm like, why didn't I meet these sisters first day?
Yeah.
But God, he's got a greater plan, and just so honored just to still call you my sister.
Yeah, sure. You gained another one today with Benicia.
Yes.
And she tends to hang around, I'm going to tell you now. So,
That's fine. We're good with that.
Anywhere.
Life wouldn't be. I'm just so blessed to have you, both of you, and even more so blessed to have you guys plugging in and coming back every week to spend time with us.
Yes.
So definitely do as Lady Gozen said and share this. I know that we're definitely going to share this. So much good stuff was said, and great advice and steps to take. And we're in very trying times right now. I believe you guys are on your second lockdown right now, right?
Yes. Not that it's much of a lockdown for me because I still work in schools.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So the government wants to call it. It is that.
Well, you take good care and you be cautious to care for yourself. Well, that goes for everybody that's watching. Stay in touch with Benicia and I and Lady Gozen. I believe she has some free material on her site too. So definitely go to ladygozen.com and download some of the great material that she has. And we will be coming back to you next week, same time, with another treat. And I also encourage you to go to my bit.ly for Unmasked Lady Gozen. I'm hoping we'll be in the house that day with the Entourage. Unmasked is on December 5th. That is Then I Rise's annual event. And we have pivoted, just like our leader, Cindy Trim, says. We pivoted to virtual this year. So we're looking forward to seeing you all there. We're going to have some extraordinary people pouring into you. So, Benicia, did you want to add anything before we send our beautiful folks home for the weekend?
I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for coming. I was truly blessed. I'm going to hit replay for sure for myself and make sure that, we share it as well. Thank you for your yes.
Yes.
God knocks at everyone's door, but everybody doesn't always say yes. So thank you for your yes. It is making a difference in lives across the continents. How amazing is that? And I just want to say, again, we don't always get a chance to shout out everybody that joins every week, but we want to truly say that we appreciate you.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
one view do we ever take for granted. We don't do this to have our names and lights or anything. We do this because we want to be a blessing. So I pray, Tanya prays, all of us, that you were blessed today and that you will continue to show up on Saturdays as God continues to just download, different topics and individuals that will grace this platform. So thank you so much. Have a blessed day, and we'll get to do it again next week.
Yes, we
Yeah.
will. Love you guys.
Love
Take
you
care.
guys. Bye.